Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Help for the Guildless. My name, of course, is Antoine. And I normally don't mind quoting movies, but this one really grinds me a little bit. Every single time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about Magic-Eden. This was supposed to be the final one. I was only going to do the one more. And then the judges had to open their fucking mouths. Now, WotC came out and said something quite interesting. It's in the form of a blog post, because it's always in the form of a blog post. Instead of making a video or anything like that, let's make a blog post and let everyone see it or not see it. So it's called Making Magic Spaces Safer. Now, this was already after their, extraordinary poster that they designed. So I'm going to read this really quickly. I may interject here or there, but this is going to be the gist of what I'm going to be talking about. The safety of magic events is of paramount importance to us. Recently, a few former judges and players have had their sex offender statuses posted to social media. In accordance with our policy, the majority had already had their access to Magic organized play suspended indefinitely and were not active in the Magic community. I want to interject here. Jeremy had been up to, I think, a total of 20 people. That number has now shrunk down to 6, and those are 6 extremely confirmed cases of it. So that's what they're talking about. Some of the things were not updated correctly. We learned, however, that an individual reported to the Judge Conduct Committee was inadvertently not decertified by Magic judges, nor reported to Wizard. I'll talk about that in a second, because it's amazing how he did it. It was so skillful. You can read more about that here. I'm not going to click on their fucking blog post. However, once this was brought to our attention by Jeremy, Wizards immediately coordinated with Magic judges, an independent community-run organization that operates and manages the judge community and its Judge Conduct Committee, to address the situation. That individual has now been indefinitely suspended as a player, and the Magic judges decertified the individual's status as a Magic judge. When Wizards learn that the DCI member or a Wizards Play Network WPN retailer is on a sex offender registry, we take immediate action to remove them from organized play and our promotional programs. We have a zero tolerance policy. Sure you do. Sex offenders have no place in the Magic community. They don't, which is amazing that there's so much pushback. As part of our commitment to safe and inclusive spaces, tournament organizers and retailers will be explicitly required to conduct background checks for all staff, as permitted by applicable law. This includes Channel Fireball events, Grand Prix, local store events like Friday Night Magic, and professional events like the Pro Tour, and World Magic Cup, as well as convention play run by Wizards. We remain committed to working with tournament organizers, local game stores, and the Magic community to foster a safe and inclusive environment. The proper channels for reporting misconduct are as follows, and gives the things that they talked about before. Now, it's funny that they talk about how there's a zero tolerance policy and how it was brought to their attention, yet we have that statement from Elaine Chase, basically stating that all of this stuff was erroneous, that they were lies. Well, apparently they weren't, or else this wouldn't have happened. Now, they're not going to give Jeremy credit, but this was, in every instance, a victory, as tepid as it may have come. You want to know how that judge, that Magic player, was so diabolical in his avoidance of the DCI program? It's something that no one has ever thought of. He left out one letter of his last name. And then when it was found out, he went, "Oops, I guess I got that wrong." To be honest. So, what we have here is from the Judge Conduct Committee, and it's about this particular person. A statement on the decertification of Ross. I'm not even going to try and say his last name. I'm going to go through this with my normal panache, and we're going to talk about it. Late last year, it was reported on social media that Level 1 Judge Ross P. was convicted of a sex crime in 2015. After hearing about these reports on December 25th, 2017, I immediately contacted the Judge Conduct Committee and Ross P.'s regional coordinator to begin an expedited decertification process. This process was completed within 24 hours. Ross P. was decertified, and Wizards of the Coast was informed soon afterwards. Ross P. was not active as a judge in 2017, and he was scheduled to be demoted as part of an annual level maintenance requirement check. So he was convicted of a sex crime in 2015. After hearing reports on December 25th, the end of 2017, you immediately went through everything, and then he was supposed to be scheduled to be demoted as part of the annual level maintenance requirement check. Pranz's name was also removed from the May 2016 Judge Anniversaries post, which was based on certification date lists and not the current activity status. I'm going to stop right here real quick before we continue. There seems to be a problem in the Judge Conduct Committee with their tech support. I hate saying this, but it is current year. How is there not someone in their little committee that has the capability of deleting someone's name off of whatever they need to delete it off of, hitting save, and then refreshing? Am I missing something here? This is a tech-savvy world we live in, is it not? Recently, it was reported that the case was sent to the Magic Judges Feedback at gmail.com address already in July of 2017. 4 months before all of this was brought to their attention. This is true. Due to an administrative error, the case was not handled at the time, and I wasn't aware of the email until it was shared on social media, because you guys didn't do your jobs. This is very unfortunate, and I'm sorry, because it looks bad on you. That's the only reason you're sorry, and that's the only reason you find it unfortunate. If it wasn't shared on social media, and it wasn't shared at all, Ross P. would still be playing. Do you see how that's a problem? We strive to prevent such errors from happening in the future. I am not aware of whether the case was also reported to the Wizards of the Coast at the time. While the Judge Conduct Committee cannot respond to every piece of feedback it receives, the Magic community has the right to expect this type of case to be handled and responded to in a timely manner. Wait. So you're saying that this is not uncommon? I mean, that's what it sounds like. Let me read that again, and you all can give me your own perspective on it. While the Judge Conduct Committee cannot respond to every piece of feedback it receives, the Magic community has the right to expect this type of case to be handled and responded to in a timely manner. You're a volunteer organization, but you don't have enough volunteers to have someone look through all of the reports, or have multiple people look through all of the reports, or 99% of the reports. So you admit fault. You're not just saying sorry, you're admitting fault. Now, here's where all of this kind of gets messy. They don't have enough people to actually run this organization and take care of all the problems that occur. Case in point, they can't read all of the reports that are sent to them, so they only choose the ones that look interesting. And I can guarantee you, since they don't go through each individual report and each individual email, well, they just look at the title. So if you give a boring title that's not clickbait, they're going to pass you by until they find one that's interesting. I'm no investigative journalist, but I got a brand new hat for this situation. Hold on a second, let me get it. There. Perfect. Let me get in on this. If you don't have enough employees for a certain task, you get more. Especially when it's something this important. Now, let's finish the little bit we have left. If you do not receive a response to your report within a month, please send another message or ask your local regional coordinator to follow up on the matter with the current JCC lead. That person that everyone knows that goes to F&M? Or the person that is the regional coordinator at the large events? He has a big sign on his shirt that says region. No, they don't do that. There's no list. So if someone doesn't know that they're supposed to contact the regional coordinator because something happens, How the fuck are they supposed to know that they are able to contact him or her? If possible, use the Magic Judge feedback form at feedbackmagicjudges.org rather than email. This helps the JCC lead track which cases have been handled, and it gives us the information we need in a more structured way. You know, unlike the emailing system, which is just a list of titles that you can click on every single fucking one and see what's inside. I know in my last video I said emails are a dead medium, but apparently to the Magic Judges, not only is it a dead medium, but it's so dead that they don't understand how the technology works. Emails are some of the most structured types of letters. There's a title that people put in it, there's a body, and there's also a return address. It's all you need. That shouldn't be a problem. And if you can't handle the email load, how are we supposed to believe you can handle the load from the feedback? You can't. This is some of the most asinine mental gymnastics in one fucking paragraph. Finally, please understand that we cannot always share details about investigations or disciplinary actions that were taken. Why not? When we send in the report, we're supposed to get a response within a month that something is being done, which means that you have the ability to then tell that person that some action has been taken, some investigation has been occurring. You are not the police. Now, I'm not talking about giving out judges detailed information like their address or their phone number, but simply saying, Judge so-and-so has been investigated. From the cameras or the witnesses, we have seen that he indeed conducted himself in a horrible manner. He has been decertified as a judge. This is not hard information. So to say that you can't provide it is kind of saying, look at my left hand while I move the judge to a different position with the right hand. The JCC remains committed to protecting the Magic community and keeping the game fair and fun for everyone. Johanna Veritanen, Judge Conduct Committee Leader, 2016-2017. Now, that's not the end of it. I want to know what happened between January 11th and January 22nd, because the Judges Program put out an opinion on background checks. Now, I'm going to read the first paragraph. And I want you to understand that the language that they've used here is very, very hinky. Dear Judge Community, as a consequence of attempts to damage the reputation of wizards, the Judge Program had to face loosely veiled accusations of having sex offenders in our ranks. This was done by involving current and former members of the Judge Program in a series of messages that were intertwined with messages about sex crimes. Now, here, do you remember just a little while ago when I was talking about how they knew about Ross P? This, they're saying it was a lie. Now, loosely veiled accusations is kind of a wishy-washy word, is it not? What that means is they want to distance themselves from a certain wordage, and that is pedophile. Not just sex offenders, pedophiles. Now, I can see why they'd want to say loosely veiled accusations, because out of the people that were outed, only one had child porn on him. I mean, it's not that bad, right? I mean, it was only over 100 and something hours of kitty diddling and pictures and movies. It's not that bad. It's loosely veiled accusations of proof. Then I'll link to Jeremy's video down below. Now, they said this was done by involving current and former members. Well, you see, the Judge Program not only has a problem with clerical work and reading emails, it also has a problem with updating their lists. They don't know how to do it, and they wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait until someone finally goes, oh, shit, we were supposed to update that list. Now they continue. This behavior is potentially damaging, as a superficial reader may come to the idea that magic judges are dangerous people. By God! You don't say. Sex offenders usually are. However, we have witnessed over many years that the judges are among the most trustworthy people we could meet in our lives. Of course, in a community of 7,000 plus people, there may be some bad eggs. Oh, bad eggs! Yes, definitely bad eggs. They are kind of some of the worst dregs of human society, but we'll just call them bad eggs. And the judges program already has had a mechanism in place for years to remove those people from the community. Yes, the judges reporting program that doesn't work. But it's been there for years, and, there's never been any problems until Ross P. showed up. I mean, come on, it's only been one person. Who knows? He could have gone on to kill 1,000 people. I know, I'm being hyperbolic, but their mechanism is broken. It doesn't work. And when something like that doesn't work, it needs to be fixed, needs to be upgraded, needs to be new. I'm going to read this one last paragraph, and then I have something we're going to talk about, and I think you'll find it very, very interesting. Recently, Wizards of the Coast announced tournament organizers will be required to verify that they will not employ or otherwise engage staff or other individuals who interact with the public on their behalf who, 1, appear on a sex offender registry or its international equivalent, and or 2, have been convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction for a violent sexual offense or a crime against children. This requirement applies specifically to tournament organizers via the WPN, which is their link to the Wizards of the Coast. This responsibility is not on the shoulder of the judges. There it is. That's why the opinion changed. WotC took out their metaphorical dick and slapped it across the judges program. And the judges kind of had to take it, put some spit on it, polish it up for them. They didn't like that. Because what that means is the judges program has to fork over dollar bills, y'all, for 7,000 plus judges. Now, here's where I differ from that. I agree that the judges should follow that paragraph to the letter of the law. I would go one step further, but that's just me. What I believe is that the judges themselves are responsible for their own background checks. It takes the pressure off the program coordinators, and it takes the pressure off the judge program. If you cannot afford the background check, which is $20 to $30, I guess you don't get to be a judge. If you think that holding off on buying that pizza from Domino's is not important enough to further your dedication to volunteer to this hobby, I guess you don't get to be part of that portion of the hobby. Now, let's talk about this one particular line, and then we're going to get into the minutiae of things, because I do want to say something about all of this that's more in the positive than it is about the negativity that the judges program is just fucking up on a daily basis. However, we have witnessed over many years that judges are among the most trustworthy people we could meet in our lives. I love that word, trustworthy. Such a impactful word. He's so trustworthy. The definition of trustworthy is very simple. Able to be relied on as honest or truthful. Now I'm going to expand on that with trust. Firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. Number 2 is base for law, and it's not really applicable in this situation. Now, for the verb, believe in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone. So to be trusted is important. To be trustworthy is even more important. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to make this as frank and honest as possible. Predators, like pedophiles, rapists, sexual assaulters, graft their entire personality on being trustworthy. They have to, because if they're not, they cannot lull their victims into a false sense of security. So, believe it or not, pedophiles, child rapists, regular rapists, sexual assaulters, they are some of the most trustworthy people you will ever meet. They are sociopathic to a point. Now, you touched on bad apples. Those bad apples are some of the worst dregs of human society. Now, I've made my point. It doesn't matter how few there are. It only matters that they're there. So let's go with this number 6. 6 people that have been convicted and shown to be part of the program until recently. Those 6 are the bad apples. So 7,000 plus, let's just give the 7,000 as what it is. So that means 1 in every 1,166 judges is a sexual offender. That's a big margin. Now, I understand that if you're in that city with that judge, you don't want your minor anywhere near it. But we have to understand that the judges program is flawed. I know you're saying, Antoine, you said you were going to say something positive about the judge program. I'm about to. It's 1 in almost 1,200. You have a chance of running into one of these bad actors. That does mean that those other 1,200 are decent people. So yes, that's why this needs to be taken so seriously. That's why this needs to be stopped. Because these 6 fuckheads are painting the other 6,994 judges that are in the country of the United States as sexual offenders, as bad apples. The saying, of course, is one bad apple ruins the bunch. And that's what's happening. People who are decent, people who are honest, people who are honorable, notice I didn't say trustworthy, are being dragged through the mud. And Wizards has decreed that background checks must happen. You want to be protected because WotC is putting the burden on you, judges. Pay attention. Because if something does go down, they're throwing you under the bus almost instantly.
And those are my thoughts, folks. I'd love to know yours. Please let me know in the comments. If you like what I do here, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, hit that little bell icon so you know when I upload. If you'd like to support the channel, there are 2 links down below. One leads to Patreon, where there are different reward tiers that you can peruse, and the other is for PayPal, for those who don't want to go through Patreon. All of the links to follow me on all of the social medias, including my Discord, are down below. So with all that being said, this has been Help for the Guildless. My name, once again, is Antoine, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening.